In this video, I have a couple points and demonstrations that I'm going to tie all in together at the end to show a solution for two star rotations on a flat plane. And in doing so, I'm going to show some globe damming evidence that I've never got a response to. So I will be expecting a response from Globers to explain this problem they have.
To be honest, and NASA wouldn't be stealing $60 million a day of your money. So, if you could, go ahead, Brian, take it away. Sorry if I took a little extra time there.
No, man. Good job. And if Rue, if you could start that slideshow, I would appreciate it. Okay, I got a lot of information to cram in here. So this shining at the bottom of clouds, that alone debunks a globe. What first seemed like a globe proof. Look at the underlit clouds. That sun is well above the horizon. All right, now the Milky Way. We see looking southwest, we see the bowl part of the Milky Way. I call it the dome Milky Way. We see it every time we look southwest. And so, like the Big Dipper, we should see it in every orientation. So on the other side of the globe, we should see the bowl Milky Way, like we see the Big Dipper upside down. But that's as much as we get right there in reality, as we get it flat. So
That was a short clip you can go back and watch on Modern Day Debates where Nathan Thompson and I basically wiped the floor with Bacon and Ruhiff. But I didn't have time to go into detail on this globe damming problem. You see from around the middle latitudes here, the Milky Way has a defined arch. So a consequence of having infinitely distant stars is that perspective is not a role player. So 6 months later, it should be upside down, and there should be a bowl. So let me show you. You see at the bottom left is the Big Dipper, and I skip month to month, and you see it start to work its way around, but it's not changing its shape. We see it completely upside down in the same shape. So 6 months later, the Milky Way should do the same thing, or else on the opposite side of a ball, we should see it in that exact shape upside down, like such. But we don't. The best we get is it starts to straighten out. That would be perspective. That doesn't work with infinitely distant stars. So here's from around the equator looking south. You see how it just straightens out. You don't see an upside down bowl. So why is it changing shape? Why in the Big Dipper, and look at any of these stars or constellations, are not changing shape. In fact, it literally swaps where it's domed on the other side too. That's exactly backwards. That would be defined by perspective. That would be the equivalent of me showing the Big Dipper where it started and then moving it across the sky 6 months later it in that exact same orientation. That's what I'm showing here. So I wanted to compare this effect to rainbows. See right there where it says rainbows aren't just arcs in the sky, they're circles. So is that the globe cutting off that rainbow? Look what we see from above. We see a full circle horizontally. So when we tell the globers we see in curved visual space or hyperbolic geometry, they're like, "What are you talking about, curved visual space?" This is what we're talking about. I think they're willfully ignorant. No matter what, we show them real world demonstrations. So these circles in the sky are showing up as arches or arcs at ground level. And you see the Milky Way doing the same thing. So now we have shown that perspective is not just stuff shrinking. We see in curved visual space. We've shown it with rainbows. We've demonstrated it with jet trails. We've shown it with clouds. We have now shown it with the damn Milky Way. This is not us making things up. This is you guys, you globers, ignoring reality. We have done the work and put it on a plate for you that a first grader can digest, and you ignore it. So here's another demonstration I put together for globers to ignore. I drew a bunch of straight line rows of little stars, and I grabbed my glass dome paperweight and I set it down on top of it, and it's a natural effect. You get two rotations. So that's represents the stars in the North and South Pole and like straight lines over the equator. I'm not saying that we have a dome above us, but I'm just saying it's a possibility, and this is a natural effect of that. So it could just be optical, or it could be a physical dome. I don't have all the answers, but I've showed the possibility. In the last video, I showed the possibility of 2 physical rotations. So the next glober you hear saying that it's impossible to have 2 star rotations on a flat plane, send them to my channel in the last 2 videos I made. And so they can ignore it. But I appreciate you watching to the end. Like and subscribe.